Hey, what's going on, guys? Tone Loc here for a little bit of a Battlefield 5 update. Got some new information as of today via this post, and I want to go over with you guys because, Battlefield 5 could be one of the best games of the year, or it could be one of the worst games of the year, or one of the most mediocre games of the year. I don't know, but it's going to be one of the most anticipated games of the year, so got to get all the information down on paper right now. So as we saw from the initial trailer and the reveal for Battlefield 5, we're going to World War II, of course, and there's going to be some changes with this particular game. So let's just jump into what we know right now. We're going to be talking about two elements: immersion and, of course, changes to squad play. Battlefield has always been a franchise that has been really at the forefront of giving players the best possible control in a video game, especially in a first-person shooter, by really innovating on how you move through the battlefield regardless of what class you're playing. Battlefield Bad Company 2 was a bit stiff, then we got vaulting with Battlefield 3, and then Battlefield 4 enhanced the movement sets even further. Now Battlefield 5 is going to take that even one step further. We're basically going to get a new movement system, and we did see some of it revealed in the trailer, where you're kind of able to backpedal while laying down, jump through windows, throw back grenades. You can sprint while you're crouched, which has never been an option before. You're also going to be able to apparently roll and dive and fire from positions that you haven't been able to fire from before. And I'm guessing that will be mostly hip fire and the ability to kind of fire from windows or different positions based on what gun you have. The world that they have built for Battlefield 5 is going to react to this movement system. For instance, you're going to be able to move through tall grass and see the grass kind of peel off in front of you and sway. The vegetation will kind of move around you depending on which direction you're moving. This sounds like a nice visual effect, but it's also going to have an effect, hopefully, on the gameplay. For instance, you can be kind of a sneaky sniper, sneaky snake as we call him in PUBG, kind of just crawling through grass, hoping no one can see you. But if you're an attentive scoutsman, you'll be able to pick up that movement. If you're maybe guarding a flag, for instance, and pick that person off, even though he was trying to be really stealthy. So it sounds like a really cool system to just make the battlefield more dynamic and real. This is also going to affect lone wolf style players like myself, who kind of like to break away from your squad and do things on your own, maybe cause some havoc in the back lines. You could maybe sneak through this terrain in a really realistic fashion to get the upper hand, maybe cap a flag behind enemy lines, that kind of stuff. In addition to that, we're also going to get a Ragdoll system, which, correct me if I'm wrong, this has been the first Ragdoll system of the Battlefield franchise. Basically, what happened in the past was that if you killed an enemy or someone on your team died, their corpse just basically disappeared if you did not res them as a medic. An example they're using is if you see an enemy get killed on top of a hill, maybe his corpse will roll down that hill and kick up some dirt, and if it lands in a puddle of water, mud will splash up and obscure the vision of players around it. Sounds pretty cool to me. Sounds like just a nice add to add some realistic flavor and, like they say, immersion to the equation. The cool thing I'm looking forward to is the variation among movements within your squad and other players around you. Historically speaking, in a Battlefield game, if you are a part of, let's say, 20 guys rushing a flag or something, you are all the same person. You have the same movement set, regardless of class, regardless of health points, and regardless of damage you have taken. So you're all just a bunch of freaking robots, and it does make sense for them to add unique movements per character because it's really something that has not been offered in many first-person shooting games. Typically, we do see this integration, but it's limited to character and hero-based first-person shooting games like Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch, where you have different types of characters with their own unique movement sets because they're different people, right? Battlefield games, we're just soldiers in the same squad regardless of what class we are, so this is something I'm really looking forward to. But now that I think about it, I think they could take this one step further and introduce different movement speed and animations per class type. Maybe making the support class a little bit taller, a little bit slower, making the assault class shorter and making them faster, differentiating the classes based off of not just animation but gameplay movement within the movement system. Obviously, they'd have to standardize the hitboxes to make sure there's no uneven gameplay happening, but you get the point. Next change we're getting is the removal of random bullet deviation. Thank God, this is such an issue with so many first-person shooting games today. There will be no RBD, which is random bullet deviation, so basically where you aim is where you're going to have those bullets land. And I know this is a mind-blowing concept to so many people, but guess what? There are so many first-person shooting games out there that have this, what they call spread effect, where you shoot and you're just not sure where the bullets will land, so you can't compensate for recoil in the process. It's a hindrance to so many games, including H1Z1, and many other first-person shooting games. So this is great news for the Battlefield community. This is going to go a long way to make sure that players who want to invest the time to getting better can have gameplay that they expect and be able to hit those high skill ceiling marks consistently, because they can manage the weapon distribution and the spread patterns just by force of habit. They're also bringing back bullet penetration in a big way, so you can shoot through all those walls that those scared little girls are hiding behind, trying to camp your squad mates. So just rip through those walls and kill those chumps that are trying to do some dirty business. Yes, I'm looking at you, Mr. or Mrs. Camper. Now, they're also going to be ramping up destruction, which is a topic that many people are sensitive about, because many people think that if you destroy too much of a Battlefield map, there's just not enough wiggle room for run and gun players to find cover versus snipers to get those objectives. Well, what happened in the past was that Battlefield games started to tone down that destruction, which created an environment where you really didn't see that total war that we came to love with Battlefield Bad Company 2. So they're going to be ramping this up. In compensation, we're going to be obviously receiving the fortification system, which kind of allows us to rebuild, in a sense, some of this destruction. The good thing about the new Battlefield destruction system is that it's going to be dynamic based off of physics, materials, and the hardware being used in construction. So if you see a projectile that blows up inside a house, the walls will crack from the inside rather than from a predetermined position, making debris fly outwards instead of inwards, which was kind of a funny point of reference for prior Battlefield games. You know, you would kind of run your tank into a building and it wouldn't actually crumble from the outside in, it would crumble from the ceiling or something. It kind of looked ridiculous, so now it's going to be a little bit more realistic. Pretty exciting change, at least for me. Now finally, we're going to move on to changes to squad play, which is some really exciting stuff as well. Basically, staying close to your squad, communicating with your squad, and playing with it is going to reward you in a much bigger way. Now, first and foremost, you're going to be automatically placed into a squad when you jump into a Battlefield 5 match. Thank God, why has this not been a thing in the past? The revive system and the squad system are getting much needed changes. Basically, any teammates can revive one of their teammates as long as they are within revival distance. However, a medic class will be able to do the revival a little bit sooner and a little bit quicker, but every class will be able to revive any teammate. This is a huge change to the system because in the prior Battlefield games, you absolutely had to have a reviver on the team in the form of a medic. Medics are going to be able to revive faster and will be able to bring back teammates to full health, which is the next change that Battlefield 5 is going to integrate. Basically, you're not going to be able to revive your health to full once you've taken sustainable damage. Now, this is something that is huge and a huge change to the Battlefield franchise. Historically speaking, there has been automatic health regeneration in Battlefield, just like Call of Duty. That meant if you took damage on the battlefield, you basically just hid behind a rock or a building until your health popped up to full, and then you went back out, did some damage, went back into cover and regenerated health again, or you went to a medic to do it a little bit faster. This created some like stop and start style gameplay, and this created bottlenecks within maps, especially Operation Locker in Battlefield 4, where you would kind of cluster up in these tight spaces with medics, or if you didn't have medics, you would just kind of throw your noob tubes on, shoot some M203s down the corridors, and then once those were out and you took some damage, and you pop back behind the wall and you regenerated your health, only to do it over and over and over thereafter. So this time you're actually going to have to run after a medic to top yourself off, which is a nice way to keep the momentum of a Battlefield game going forward and at full speed. This also makes sure that people actually engage in the combat system and don't just try to manipulate it by hiding behind corners and just kind of playing the defensive game, which has definitely been a problem in past titles. And finally, within the category of revival and health, you're also going to be able to do kind of a drag him to safety move if one of your teammates dies in a very precarious position, so you can grab him and bring him back to safety, which is pretty cool, I guess. Now finally, and the most controversial addition to Battlefield 5 that we know of right now, is the new squad reinforcement system. What it sounds like to me, honestly, is a kill streak system. Basically how it works is, when you're working with your squad and doing anything as a squad within proximity of your teammates, you will accumulate resources via squad points. Revive a teammate, cap a squad together, build a reinforcement, resupply a fellow teammate. These things will give you squad points, or I guess they're called resources in this game, and once you've gathered enough, you can give the squad leader the option to call in various reinforcements, which sound like they're going to be akin to kill streak rewards, basically very powerful items such as maybe a rocket, supply drops, smoke screens, and maybe a tank with flamethrowers, they're saying, mounted on all sides. Sounds pretty crazy, and this does make sense because Battlefield right now and DICE are really trying to nail us on the head that Battlefield 5 is going to be a very fast-paced Battlefield game. Yes, Battlefield 5 seems like it's going to be the most fast-paced game to date in the franchise, and I'm going to assume that the reinforcement system, or the squad reinforcement system, is going to take the place of the behemoth system of Battlefield 1, which was not a good system whatsoever. So this is just another way that DICE is going to experiment with the Battlefield franchise for good or worse. So there you go, guys. That is the changes coming, at least that we know of right now, to immersion and squad play on Battlefield 5. So go ahead and leave me your comments down below. Tell me what you think about these changes. Tell me what you think about Battlefield 5 as a whole. Do you think it's a little bit unrealistic, a little bit unauthentic, a little bit too over the top, or do you think it's just the right amount of arcadiness for the next Battlefield game? Thanks very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and thumbs it up, and if you did not, then let me know why down below in the comment section. Have a great day, guys. More to come, especially with E3 coming right around the corner, so stay tuned to this channel for all your gaming needs in the future. Have a great day, guys, and we'll see you in our next video. Peace, love, and happiness. Until then, take care.